Hello all you YouTubers out there, I'm Casey Hart, and this is JackTV Behind the Scenes. Now here in the SFA Mass Communication Department, we try and teach our students all the skills that they need to work in radio and television. But specifically, we try and focus on the skills they'll need to go into broadcast journalism, news. But why do we do this? Why is it that we focus specifically on this? Well, it's actually quite simple. News media is wonderful as a format to teach all those skills in a practical way. In other words, through learning how to work in news, you learn editing, writing, composition, shooting in general, lighting techniques, all the things that you would need to work in any other form of television broadcasting. It's a wonderful format for this. So today on SFA Behind the Scenes, I wanted to start with one of the most basic questions, which is, what is news? So generally, as a broadcast journalist, you are a person that can tell a good story. That's all that it really is. We're trying to communicate with the audience. We're trying to talk to them and reach them where they are. There's nothing better than telling a good story. But the question that has to be answered is, what is news? Now generally, news is defined along basically 5 different criteria. First is significance. Now significance means, does it have an impact? Does it have an effect on your audience in particular? Now this can be a national audience or a local audience, but it's got to be significant. The information, the story, the goings-on has to affect your audience, okay? Second, prominence. Now prominence usually refers to the people that are involved, the major players. When we talk about prominence, we're talking about people, organizations, or going on that your audience actually knows about as is. For example, if the President of the United States comes to your town, it doesn't matter whether it's to walk his dog, have a sandwich, or deliver a major address. Because he's the President of the United States, he is a prominent figure. Therefore, most of what he does is generally considered newsworthy. So, 1, significance, 2, prominence. 3, proximity. When we talk about proximity, we're talking about the distance the story is to your audience. In other words, it's generally considered more newsworthy when a story is happening right there in their community. Okay? For example, if a story is happening in their kid's school, all right, in their city council, this is far more newsworthy in a local audience than, say, a national story that might be happening in LA or New York. So, number 3, proximity. Okay? Next, number 4, timeliness. Now, where proximity talked about the distance, the physical distance of a story to its audience, timeliness focuses on the time distance to your audience. In other words, it's very simple. Things that are happening now are generally considered more newsworthy than things that happened a day ago, a week ago, a month ago, a year ago. Okay, so again, timeliness, very simple, name pretty much explains it. If it's happening now, it's generally considered more time or more newsworthy. Finally, we've talked about significance, we've talked about prominence, we've talked about proximity and timeliness. The 5th is a catch-all category, human interest. Now human interest, very, very simply put, is whatever your audience is interested in at this point in time. Okay? You could say, is this story significant? Does it have real impact on the lives of your audience? If you answer no to this, for example, celebrity news, it doesn't matter who Kim Kardashian is marrying. It doesn't affect the audience's life. But people want to know. It doesn't fall into the category of prominence. In other words, if something is just strange or weird, or a person is kidnapped across the country, I don't know this person, it doesn't impact my life, but the story itself catches my attention. Proximity, again, this story may not be happening in my backyard, but I'm interested in it. Timeliness. Usually this will fall into the category of things that are going on right now, but it doesn't necessarily have to. Human interest is the fifth category that generally is considered newsworthy. If it's something that your audience wants to know about, it's your job as a broadcaster to at least try and accommodate your audience. After all, we are in a business here. You are serving the community. Human interest is your fifth newsworthy category. Okay, so something is generally considered newsworthy if it meets some of these standards. Is the story significant? Does it involve people of prominence? Is it happening within the proximity of your audience? Is it timely? And finally, does it have some aspect of human interest? Does your audience care about this? Okay, I know this is a little bit difficult, so I've, over the years, kind of streamlined this into three categories. Impact, notoriety, and oddity. Impact, does it impact your audience? Notoriety, the people, places, things, organizations, notable. Do I know about them? And finally, oddity. Is it something that's unusual? Is it strange? Is it just plain weird? Does it catch my attention? Okay? If you can say that something falls into one or more of these categories, well then you just might have yourself some news. Well, that's all the time I have today on JackTV Behind the Scenes. Stay in touch by becoming a subscriber on our YouTube channel. You can also follow us and keep up to date by joining or following us on our Twitter feed at @NAC_edition. We'd love to have you there. Constant updates about what our students are up to and what's going on. We'd love to hear your comments as well. So either follow the address that's at the bottom of your screen right now, send us some emails, leave us your comments on YouTube, or shoot us back on Twitter. We'd love to hear from you. We want to see what you, the viewers, have to say about all this. Finally, again, if you're interested in a career or you think you might be interested in a career within the broadcast field, again, follow our link at the bottom of the page and check us out at the Mass Communication Department at SFA. We'd love to have you. Well, again, this has been JackTV Behind the Scenes. See you next week.